So I get this question on the channel all the time. One of the questions that we get quite a bit of, we do a lot of axle hub wheel bearing replacement videos. And on those videos, I always get asked, how tight what are the torque specs of my wheel hub bearing? And is it important to tighten them to the correct specs? Well, first of all, yes, it is important to tighten your wheel hub bearing to the correct specs. What happens is that you don't want to zap these on with an impact gun, because if you tighten them too much, you could burn out the wheel bearing. And if you don't tighten them enough, you could have a loose wheel up in the front, and that'll ruin the bearing too. And you could actually lose the wheel off the vehicle, and you don't want that to happen at all. So the other piece of that is, whatever car or vehicle you're working on, truck, look up the wheel torque specs for that specific vehicle. Like, look for the model year, the model, what year, make, model it is, because this stuff can vary. You can have the same model car or truck, and the torque specs might be like 185 pounds one year, and then the next year they change something, and now it's like 160 pounds. So you always want to check the torque specs for your vehicle for your specific year. And one of the resources that I use on the internet is the SKF guide, and but that's not always up to date either. So sometimes you got to go hunting around. Sometimes Rock Auto has them in the specs too, with their parts. But dig around online, and worst case scenario, you could probably call the dealership with your VIN number, and they could probably tell you the correct torque on your wheel bearing or your wheel hub bearing assembly. But yeah, that stuff is important. You want to get the torque spec down, the torque done correctly on it, because you don't want it to cause damage to that wheel bearing. So the proper way to do it is, after you replace your wheel bearing, your wheel hub bearing assembly, it's a hub and rotor all in one package now. They've been doing that for a long time. You put that all back together, put the tire on the vehicle, lower it to the ground, and a lot of times, in the wheel, there's a little center cap that you can take out, and then you can slip a socket into there, and you can use a torque wrench and put the torque down that axle nut correctly to the right foot-pounds. You want the vehicle to be on the ground, and you want all the weight of the vehicle to be on the tires, so you get the correct torque out of it. The other way that you can do it, and Steve and I have done this in the shop a few times before we put the tire on, is he has a lift. So sometimes I'll hop in the vehicle and hold the brake so that the wheel doesn't spin, and he can torque it, with the vehicle up in the air if we have other repairs to make and we don't feel like throwing tires on yet. You can do it that way too, but if you're doing it in the driveway with jack stands and all that fancy crap, put the vehicle on the ground, and then you can torque them correctly that way. So that's definitely a way to do it. You can find torque wrenches on the internet, Harbor Freight. Maybe check out their Ion line. I haven't used any of their stuff yet, but I've been hearing it's pretty good from some of the mechanics I hang around with. So if you need a torque wrench, check out those places, and let us know how you like it. But if you have any questions or comments, about axle torque specs or anything like that, drop a comment on the video and we'll reply back to it. But I always recommend, just hunting around on the internet, view a specific year, make, and model, and see if you can dig it up. And sometimes you can't. I've run into, places where you can't find it, so you gotta kind of ask around, or, like I said, probably check the dealership out. But thanks for watching the channel. If you have any questions, drop a comment. I'll reply back to you. Thanks for checking us out. Take it easy.